Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the fourth week of July 2026. I'm your host, Linnea Crowther. I'm the news editor at Legacy.com, where you can read full obituaries for most of the people featured in this video and leave your own condolences on their Legacy page. Irish singer, songwriter, and actor Glen Hansard died July 29, 2026 in Dublin. He died in a motorcycle accident at the age of 56. After appearing in the movie The Commitments, he starred in Once, winning an Academy Award for Best Original Song for Falling Slowly, which he co-wrote and performed for the film. Hansard is also being remembered for his music with the groups The Frames and The Swell Season, and as a solo artist. French DJ Kavinsky died in July 2026 at his home in Paris at the age of 50. A cause of death has not been announced. Born Vincent Bollorget, he was best known for his song Nightcall, which plays in the opening credits of the movie Drive. He also performed the hit in the closing ceremony of the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. Kavinsky is also being remembered for his 2013 single Odd Look, featuring The Weeknd, a hit on U.S. dance floors. Actress E.J. Peeker died May 16, 2026 at her home in Las Vegas. She died of Alzheimer's disease at the age of 82. Her death was announced this week. She had a supporting role in the film adaptation of Hello, Dolly, playing Minnie Fay, the hat shop assistant. Peeker is also being remembered for starring alongside Robert Morse in the innovative but short-lived musical TV series That's Life. Former professional football player Jordan Devey died July 21, 2026 in Boise, Idaho. He died by suicide at the age of 38. Devey spent 7 seasons in the NFL and played for 5 teams, including winning a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots in 2015. He is being remembered as a father of 4 whose death has brought attention to the topic of mental health. Author Benjamin Alire Sáenz died July 28, 2026 after a long illness at the age of 71. He wrote the award-winning young adult novel Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, a fan favorite that was later adapted into an acclaimed film. Sáenz is being remembered for a wide-ranging body of work for young people and for adults, offering representation to marginalized communities. Poet Black Ice died July 22, 2026 at the age of 54. No cause of death has been announced. Born Lamar Manson, he presented his spoken word poetry on HBO's Deaf Poetry Jam, helping set the tone of the show from its very first episode. Black Ice is being remembered for his influence on the hip-hop poetry community. German anatomist and lecturer Gunther von Hagens died July 24, 2026 at the age of 81 after living with Parkinson's disease. He was the creator of the Body Worlds exhibits, which gave viewers a more detailed look at human anatomy than ever before possible. He also developed the technique behind the exhibit's plastination. Von Hagens is being remembered for broadening our understanding of the human body with his innovative work. Actor and TV presenter Bill Oddie died July 25, 2026 at the age of 85. He was a star of the absurdist 1970s sketch comedy series The Goodies on the BBC, and he wrote the show's songs, including the UK hit single Funky Gibbon. Oddie is also being remembered as an avid conservationist and birdwatcher who later hosted many nature programs for the BBC. Singer Arlene Smith died July 29, 2026 at a hospital in New York City. She died of natural causes at the age of 84. She was the lead singer for the Chantels, a pioneering girl group that had a hit in 1958 with Maybe. Smith is being remembered for her powerful voice on doo-wop songs that influenced later girl groups. Actor Tom Chadbon died in July 2026 at the age of 80. He guest-starred as Inspector Duggan in an episode of Doctor Who that has come to be considered one of the long-running show's all-time best. Chadbon is also being remembered for his appearances in such TV shows as Game of Thrones, Blake 7, Casualty, and many more. Football player Billy Ray Smith Jr. died July 29, 2026 at the age of 64 after a long journey with dementia caused by CTE. He was a linebacker for the San Diego Chargers in the 1980s and 90s, and he later co-hosted the Scott and BR Show, a sports talk program on San Diego radio. Smith is also being remembered for his college career with the University of Arkansas Razorbacks. He was a two-time All-American and earned a spot in the College Football Hall of Fame. Punk singer Lou Koller died July 24, 2026 of esophageal cancer at the age of 61. He was the frontman and co-founder of the influential New York hardcore band Sick of It All, one of the biggest bands to come out of the scene. Koller is being remembered for his aggressive, high-energy lyrics and for being an ambassador for hardcore music. Actor and singer Mike Preston died June 8, 2026 in Florida at the age of 93. His death was announced this week. He was one of the stars of Mad Max 2, also known as the Road Warrior, playing Pappagallo, the leader of a group of settlers. Preston is also being remembered for his performances in the movie Metal Storm and in Australian TV shows like Homicide and Bellbird. Artist Betye Saar died July 26, 2026 at her home in Los Angeles at the age of 99. She was renowned for her assemblage art, which incorporated found objects into three-dimensional collages that shone a light on racist stereotypes of Black people. Saar is being remembered for powerful works like her 1972 piece, The Liberation of Aunt Jemima. One of the greatest pop singers of all time would have turned 100 this week. But before we get to the celebrity anniversaries, I want to take a moment to salute a few of the most remarkable obituaries we saw this week at Legacy that weren't for celebrities but for everyday people like you and me. Those include Mary Thomas of Gary, Indiana, a devoted minister who was also a grade school teacher and a talented seamstress. Esther Blue of Brooklyn, New York, an accomplished jazz and gospel pianist and keyboardist who was also a competitive bodybuilder. And Warren Oliver of Knoxville, Tennessee, an engineering professor whose pioneering technique of nanoindentation has shaped the field of materials science for decades. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 1 year ago this week, astronaut Jim Lovell died at the age of 97. He was one of the first humans to orbit the moon on the Apollo 8 mission, and as commander of Apollo 13, he helped his crew navigate a critical failure and return to Earth safely. 5 years ago this week, actress Markie Post died at the age of 70. She was seen widely on TV in the 80s and 90s, with starring roles on The Fall Guy, Night Court, and Hearts of Fire. 20 years ago this week, singer and songwriter Arthur Lee died at the age of 61. He was the frontman for Love, known for 60s rock like their hit song 7 and 7 Is and their classic album Forever Changes. Actor Jay North was born 75 years ago this week. He died in April 2025 at the age of 73. He was just 7 years old when he became a TV star as the title character of Dennis the Menace. Singer Tony Bennett was born 100 years ago this week. He died in July 2023 at the age of 96. His award-winning career spanned 70 years, from early hits like Rags to Riches and I Left My Heart in San Francisco to his late career collaborations with Lady Gaga. Actress and comedian Lucille Ball was born 115 years ago this week. She died in April 1989 at the age of 77. She co-created and starred in I Love Lucy, one of the all-time great sitcoms, and she became the first woman to run a major television studio as head of Desilu Productions. Musician Louis Armstrong was born 125 years ago this week. He died in July 1971 at the age of 69. He was a jazz and blues trumpeter and singer known for classic songs like What a Wonderful World and Hello, Dolly. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Michigan have been lowered to honor the memory of Lincoln Park Fire Department Sergeant Adam Ambrosi, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Kansas have been lowered to honor the memory of Marion County Commission Chairman Dave Crowfoot. Flags in Kentucky have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Private Mike Raymond McDowell, who was killed in action in Burma during World War II. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in Rhode Island have been lowered to honor the memory of former East Providence Mayor Dr. Isidore Ramos. Flags in Oregon have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Navy Commander Gabriel Edwards. Flags in Nebraska have been lowered to honor the memory of Crete Police Chief Gary Young. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. Follow Legacy.com on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.